Hey guys, it's Ladonis. Today I'll be talking about an important topic that I feel like doesn't get talked about enough in today's society. That topic is Advanced Healthcare Directors Forum. The Advanced Healthcare Directors Forum is very important. I feel like a lot of people push it aside, doesn't pay attention to it. Definitely a lot of people in our society today doesn't pay attention to it and might not even know what advanced healthcare director form is, because I know me personally, before this class, I didn't have no idea what the heck a advanced healthcare director form is. Now that I got pretty much a good understanding of what it is and how they work and how important they actually are, I'm very thankful for the information that I have gained throughout the class. So advanced healthcare directive form is pretty much an agreement or a plan of how you would want your life when you get how you want your life or a loved one's life. Um, Once you or your loved one get to a point where they can't make the decisions on their own, or just pretty much can't be a spokesman on their own decisions. And that's very important when it comes to death and just pretty much being disabled at a point in time. So I'm gonna dive into a very personal situation that I had just recently. My great grandma had passed, and my grandma was left with all of my great grandma things, like a whole lot. She was like her favorite kid, I guess. But she was left with a whole lot of things, and she really never had to talk with my great grandma about how would she want certain things distribute out to her brothers and sisters, and how she pretty much would want everything past death. So they never had that conversation. So my grandma is very stressed out. Currently, it's 2 weeks after her passing. She's very stressed out. Doesn't know, like, it's just a whole lot on her right now. A whole lot of weight on her shoulders to pretty much pick on, where it could have been less if they had this conversation and she actually knew and understand what my great grandma would have wanted to, would have wanted everything to be. So I feel like it's less stressful. It's more uncomfortable, but at the end of, in the grand scheme of it, it's less stressful. So I feel like that's very important. I'm speaking from a personal experience that I see in my family. I'm with my grandma every day. It's like I live with her, so I feel it's safe to say it, that I see in my household. Um, so that's one reason why I think it's very important to have, just so when that time comes, you're ready. It's not a okay. It's not okay. This it's sad enough when someone passes. Now you have someone that passed. Now you have a burden on your shoulders. Like, okay, I got to take care of all this. I don't want to take care of all this, and things like that. So it can cause less stress. And I just don't feel like I said, a lot of people doesn't make it important to talk about because it's a hard conversation. Death is a hard conversation to have, but it's also an important conversation to have. So as long as you or your loved one can get comfortable being uncomfortable, and I feel like that conversation would be a great conversation to have. As well as why I feel like my advice to talk about it is to pretty much talk about it as soon as possible. It's better to talk about it earlier than later. So I know a lot of people say later. Later is better than ever, but earlier is better than later. In this case, because you just never know what can happen, man. Some things can happen in a snap of a second. So I feel like the project we did when I had to interview my mom, I interviewed my mom about the Advanced Healthcare Director Forum. It was very uncomfortable at first, but at the end, in the grand schemes, it was a great conversation that we had, and I'm very thankful that I had that conversation, because now I'm I'm the oldest. Well, I'm not the oldest. I have a brother with a disability, so I didn't know what she would want me to do if something was to happen to her today. So I now I know, oh yeah, she wants him. She has something in place for him already, which I didn't know. So if something was to happen and we didn't have this conversation, I'd be like, okay, now I don't know what to do with my brother. It's I'm trying to finish school. Snap! It's just a sudden change for me, and I wouldn't have known. But now that I had that conversation with my mom, I have a pretty good understanding of, okay, if something was to happen, this goes here, this goes here. This is how things are handled. It'd be less stressful and more helpful for me. So that conversation was great for me. I feel like I advise everyone out there to have that deep, hard conversation with your loved one, or anyone that you might have to be a spokesman for at one point in time. Um, so that's pretty much all I have about the Advanced Healthcare Director forms. And thank you.